Hmm. Hmm.
Hey Murad, how's it going, my friend?
Hello, I am fine, thank you. Thank you very much. How are you?
Good, things are great. I'm just hanging out in Washington, D.C., and the government shutdown is over.
I'm glad to hear that.
I know. Praise Obama. Obama is the best. Actually, no. He's probably as
Mm.
guilty as everybody else. But finally, the shutdown is over. So I'll be spending most of my day tomorrow just traveling around Washington, D.C., because
Yeah,
now the museums are open.
so everything is okay right now.
For another 2 months, yes.
Good.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen in 2 months, right? We have a bunch of clowns called, clown politicians ruling this country. So um, whenever they want, they change the rules, they bend the rules, they break the rules, they write new rules, right? Um,
Yeah,
Nothing is ever the same. So how about you? Did you do anything cool today?
I I just went to have lunch outside.
Nice, nice. What kind of food do you like, Murad? Do you prefer Mexican food? Do you prefer cooking at home? Uh, like different kinds of cuisine?
Frankly, I accept everything which is healthy
Nice, nice. That's awesome.
and halal. You know what halal means?
Of course, halal food. And then,
Yes.
so for example, uh, what is your favorite, I guess, dish?
My favorite dish. Well, there are different dishes like couscous,
Couscous,
like
uh-huh.
tagine, like pastilla.
Pastilla, okay.
Yes,
I haven't heard of the second one you mentioned, Murad. What was that one called? And
pastilla,
no, the one before that, after couscous, but before pastillas. Ta
tagine.
Tagine.
It's a dish made of
Uh-huh.
Arjun?
different vegetables.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's Moroccan. It seems Moroccan, right? Let me look at this.
yes, that's it.
Tagine. It comes from the Persian Tabe. I speak Persian. I've never heard of this. Tabe. Interesting. Okay. Tabe.
I think Persian
Lunch.
has Arabic characters
Yes, yes. Persian is written in the Arabic letters, alif, ba, all that stuff. So
from right to
uh,
left.
from right to left, exactly.
Mhm.
It looks the same as Arabic, except we have a few more letters. We have P, and we have cha, the cha sound, the pa sound, a couple of extra letters. But yeah, I never heard of this before. I'm reading it right now. Tajin. Tajin, Vanity Tajin. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay, cool. Did not know that. Um, there's so much influence from different cultures. I had a good friends of mine from Morocco who I spent a summer with when I was overseas, and great, great cuisine. But I never really had, I never really learned to love or grew to love couscous. Couscous for me is just one of those things that if I see, for example, rice or bread, along with couscous, I would go for the rice or bread. I wouldn't go for the couscous. You know, I think it's just I think it's a different taste almost that I'm not used to so much. But I can imagine it's very popular in Morocco.
It's very popular and it's the custom to make it every Friday.
Every يوم الجمعة,
Yes.
right? Or as I like to say in Egyptian colloquial English, اليوم الجمعة.
يوم الجمعة.
جمعة, exactly. يعني والله yesterday I went to المسجد. يعني everybody in the masjid told me that they have to eat the couscous يعني.
يعني ايه؟ يعني
Yeah.
ايه؟
يعني the بكرة I eat the couscous because it's اليوم الجمعة. I
انت
need to eat the
بتتكلم
couscous.
مصري.
Say what? I'm sorry, Murad. I'm having fun with this now. What did you say, Murad? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
انت بتتكلم مصري.
والله يعني المصري الدنيا. The Egypt is the mother of the world يعني. They don't know about the Egypt. The people they come to see the pyramid يعني من القاهرة من يعني every part يعني في كل مكان. The Egypt is the mother of the world. الدنيا.
انت بتحب مصر يا فرحان؟
I don't know what that means. but I just speak Egyptian English يعني.
شو تفهمي العربية ديال المغرب؟
I don't know what that means, man.
That's Moroccan.
Yeah, it's Moroccan. I don't speak Arabic, guys. I speak just Egyptian English. But yeah, no, I did promise you guys I would share some of that with you. So there you go. I can do more if you guys want, but later. How's it going, Marcelo? Yeah. Marcelo, are you there?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Fine.
Where are you from?
Nice. It's nice. From Brazil.
You're from Brazil?
Yeah, Brazil.
Nice, awesome. What part of Brazil? Brazil is a beautiful country.
Capital for Brazil, Brasilia.
Brasilia. Oh, very nice. So the
Yeah.
capital, the federal territory, right?
Yeah.
Nice. You know, I was watching a documentary on Brazil a few weeks ago, and I had no idea that Brasilia is located in a very underdeveloped part of Brazil. That when they developed the city, they kind of went into the area of Brazil that nobody lived in, and they decided to build the capital city there. It was very interesting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Have you met the other classmates before, Marcelo, Murad, and Soso?
Yeah, I started to learn English with you here in Colingo yesterday.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome to Colingo then. Welcome to
yesterday was my first day here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We have a good amount of a lot of students from Brazil actually, so I think it actually helps to include you guys in a lot of conversations. Some of my articles have actually also focused on Brazil because personally,
I noticed. I realized that I saw a lot of Brazilian people here. I think it's very nice to see it.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that a lot as well. So I'm going to wait maybe just a couple more minutes, guys. Actually, I don't know. It's about 11 minutes past the hour. I'll get started. Today we are going to be discussing the environment to a certain extent. We'll be talking about pollution. And I think pollution is something that we all have somewhat of an idea of. Either it affects us on a daily basis when we are traveling or when we are going to work or coming back from work or whatever. It affects us in our countries, in our daily lives. Or it's something that we have heard about affecting other countries or affecting the world as a whole in the sense of maybe global warming or in the sense of the environment and things like that, right? So the question I have for you guys to begin our discussion is, when was the last time you smelled polluted air, right? When was the last time you went outside and you smelled something that just seemed to you to be not fresh air, polluted air, maybe smoke, or we say smog in English, right? When was the last time that happened to you? We can start with Marcelo.
Okay, pollution, yeah.
Yeah.
In Brasilia, we haven't a lot of pollution air, but in São Paulo, it's because I was born in São Paulo and I came to Brasilia 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was living in São Paulo, I felt that I felt that it's a lot of pollution air. It's not good, because it's harmful for our health in certain ways.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. I think that those are great points to make, right? And do you think the reason is so Sao Paulo is still a very polluted city, right? Because of the cars, right?
Traffic jams and a lot of cars and so on, bus, a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. And in Brasilia, I'm assuming there aren't as many cars, not as much traffic.
Sorry?
Is that the case? It seems to me like maybe Brasilia is more open.
No.
Oh no! All I was saying, Marcelo, is it seems to me that maybe Brasilia has less cars, less traffic.
Yeah, Brasilia has less car and less traffic. Comparing to São Paulo, it's we have less car and less traffic here.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting to know. So Murad, what about you? When was the last time you smelled polluted air or smog or something like that?
Today when we were driving. And
Really?
I hated it. Yes.
So is this something that happens really daily in Monterey? Do you guys have a pollution problem?
Well, depending on the area.
Depends on the area. Okay.
Yeah.
So some areas, which areas are usually worse than others?
Well, the center of the city is very polluted. Yes.
Maybe like the downtown area?
Yes.
And why do you think that is? Do you have any ideas?
This is because there are a lot of cars.
A lot of cars there. And maybe also because when I think of downtown, is there less space because there's a lot of buildings and everything is kind of constricted in one location, right?
Everything is saturated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. So Monterey, earlier today, downtown Monterey, depending on the location. And so what about you? When's the last time you smelled polluted air or got a sense of polluted air?
Last month, when you were at the beach.
Really? So
yes.
Whereabouts were you guys? Were you guys close to Jeddah then?
Yes, Corniche. The old one, not the new one that they built.
The old Jeddah Corniche.
Yes.
Okay.
The smell of the garbage was very bad.
The smell of the garbage?
Yeah, in the water, They throw it in the water.
I didn't know they threw garbage in the water.
Not the garbage. How can I call it in English?
Is it just like polluted water that they're throwing in the water, or I mean?
Yes.
So, why the Corniche? I mean, that's like people go there with their families and stuff.
It's a part of the Corniche.
Oh, okay. But if the smell is, does the smell reach like the beach, the city? I mean, isn't that kind of?
Yes. When you walk on when you walk by it, you smell it.
Isn't that kind of unsafe?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what are they doing?
They don't go there anymore.
Oh, maybe because it's the old Corniche. Maybe in the new one it's not like that. Right? I don't know, honestly. I haven't been to Jeddah in, like 21 years. But interesting situation. Okay. So we heard from all of you guys, right? Thanks for sharing your comments. So we heard from Marcelo that Brasilia doesn't really maybe have as bad a problem because it's the capital city, less traffic, less pollution. Sao Paulo, however, does. It's a big city. And similarly, I think Sao Paulo is in a position that is similar to what we saw with Murad in Monterrey, downtown, larger city, smog, pollution. And Jeddah, in the case of Soso as well, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, a city that possibly suffers from pollution and from noxious fumes, I guess, coming from the water in this case that is next to the beach, right? So, interesting situation. Um, what I think we can understand from this is that pollution is something that is worldwide. That is a problem that is affecting many countries and many cities and many people around the world, right? Unfortunately. And what we are going to look at today is actually one of the main sources of pollution, which is exhaust, car exhaust, right? The exhaust fumes that are in automobiles, whenever we have an engine that burns fuel, planes, trains, cars, whatever, we get exhaust. And the exhaust, we're going to be looking at an alternate view, actually, of exhaust and what it means to the world of pollution and also us people, from a scientific standpoint. Before we continue with that, guys, do we have any questions about what we looked at so far? Just the conversation that we had with each other.
Why not?
No questions?
No.
Marcelo? Okay. Fantastic. Let us know, because I think it's very important. One thing I try to tell everyone who comes to my class is please ask questions as they come up, because that way we'll be able to answer them.
Where do you live, teacher?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I didn't introduce myself. My name's Farhan. I live in the United States. I live in Wisconsin, actually. Wisconsin is a state in the north central part of the country. So, for example, in Brazil, it would be where Bahia is where Wisconsin would be, north central, and it's a farming state. We have a lot of cows, we have a lot of cheese, we have a lot of milk.
Is it cold there?
It's very cold, yes. Starting in the winter, it's not super cold yet, but in a few months we will be extremely cold.
And what about the pollution?
The pollution is actually it's very controlled. It's I don't sense any pollution in my state. Open air, very, very, very large open spaces, a lot of farms, and yeah, no pollution really.
Okay.
And if you want to know where it is, it's close to Chicago. It's about 2 hours north of Chicago. So it gives us a little bit better understanding, because not everyone knows where Wisconsin is. It's kind of an unknown state. So Chicago is obviously a very polluted city, but Wisconsin is not. So that's where I'm from, Marcelo. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot to mention where I was from. Okay. Any other questions?
I have just one question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sure.
About the place you live. Is there a hurricane there?
No, actually. So Wisconsin is very blessed that we only get storms of snow. Okay. We only get snow, and when we get snow, we get maybe 6 or 7 meters. I'm just joking. We get maybe 2 meters of snow every time it snows. The last big snowstorm was last year, and there was ice on the street for about 2 days. So when you were driving outside, the cars were slipping and people were falling down, and it was a pretty bad situation.
Fine.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, okay, guys, let's move on to the actual lesson then, right? So when we're talking about today, we're going to be talking about pollution and exhaust, but we will also be taking a look at WH questions, right? Or I guess the way to pronounce them is WA questions, WA, right? Questions that begin in words that begin with WH, right? So we have a few examples of this. We have, who, what, when, where, why, right? So those are the 5 W's, right? Who, what, when, where, and why. And also we include how. Whom could also work, Murad, actually. Whom could also work. And
what?
Well, no, we're discussing questions that begin with these words in particular. Which one did you say, Marcelo? Did you say watch?
Sorry, you put what above. I didn't see yet.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about
it before.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, I know I was typing kind of fast, but yeah, who, what, when, where, why, right? And also with who, we can also ask whom, right? So as we heard with Murad. So those are the five. And then we also have how. Even though how doesn't begin with WH, it's usually lumped into the same category of WH questions, WH questions, right? Um, and what are the reasons behind why we use these questions over other questions, or how do we ask questions, correctly using these words, right? So we will start by looking at we'll start by looking at who, right? So who is really focusing on a person, right? You're asking about an individual, right? So who questions are used to ask about people. You can say, who is the new teacher, like of a classroom, right? Who is the new teacher? Murad is the new teacher, right? Who is your best friend, right? My best friend is so-so, whatever, right? You can also say, uh, who made this mess? Mothers always ask this, who made this mess? And then the children say, not me. They all say that none of them made the mess, even though one of them did, right? So who questions we always use to ask about people, right? We can say who is something, who was something, who did something, who made something, right? Whatever the case may be. So that's how we use who questions, right? And Murad, how do we use whom? What is the difference between who and whom?
We use whom when we talk about something plus preposition.
Exactly. Can you give us an
Example,
example? Yeah.
with whom are you?
With
It's
whom
like
are
this.
you?
Yeah, it's like who are you with?
Exactly. And how would you answer that question if someone asked you that?
I am with somebody.
I'm with somebody,
Um,
right? Or you can mention the person's name,
yes.
right? Or for example, people can ask, for whom is this package, right? Let's say you want to send something to somebody, right? For whom is this package, right? So once again, we see a preposition, right? For and with, these are both prepositions, right? With whom are you with? Or,
I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
When can I use whom or who?
Good question. So usually we use whom when we are talking, when we ask a question that includes a preposition, right? So for example, for whom is this package, for example, right? So you're sending something to somebody, and instead of saying for who is this package, it's better to say for whom is this package, right? Um, really, the definition of whom and how we use it is when it's the object of a verb or the object of a preposition, right? So we use, for example, you're talking about an individual, right? The object of a preposition or the object of a verb, right? So let's say someone is getting married. Whom did she marry, right? Whom did she marry? Because in that example, whom is the object of the verb marry, right? So, and for prepositions, for example, so we heard from Murad, who are you with, right? Whom are you with, right? That's why it's a subtle difference. It's a slight difference, but it's still important in the context of when we are, instead of saying who, when we are talking about who in the sense of the object of a verb, or when it's with a preposition, then we use whom, right? Does that make sense, so?
Yep.
Okay. Let me know if that doesn't, because there are examples when sometimes even native speakers are confused between the use of who and whom, right?
I have an opinion.
Yeah, go ahead, Murad.
Whom is usually stick to the preposition, while who is always away from the preposition.
Mm-hmm. I like
For
that.
example,
Yeah.
with whom you are, or with whom are you?
With whom are you, right?
Yes. Versus who are you with? Do you see the difference?
Yes.
The
Yes.
preposition is always stick with whom.
I agree. I agree 100%. With whom are you? For whom is this?
To whom is
To
this?
whom? To whom
Yes.
are you sending this, right? Exactly, exactly. Those
Who
are
is
great
this to?
examples.
Who is this
Exactly.
to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Good job, Murad. Fantastic. I give you 1 gold star. No, that was great. That was very, very helpful, Murad. Thank you so much. So does it make better sense?
Yep. But
Okay.
can you, Murad, can you write the sentences?
Yeah.
I think I will type a sentence.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Murad. And so as we talk about who, right? Who really we are talking about. So we just went over who. We're talking about people and people and persons, right? Or a person or people, right? When we talk about what, right? What is really a very versatile situation, right? We can ask about a specific thing, a specific interest, right? I can ask you, for example, I'll ask you, I'll ask you, Marcelo, what do you do? What do you do for a living?
What I do here?
Yeah,
I am a manager.
you're a manager, right? So I am a manager, right? What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a manager, right? Um, uh, Murad, what was your major in college?
I was a university student of linguistics.
I was a university student of linguistics, right? My major in college was linguistics. Fantastic, right? So, let me ask you a what question.
Yeah.
What kind of food do you like?
I like Italian food.
I like Italian food, right? Fantastic. So see how versatile what is, right? What is really used to talk about specific things, interesting things. You can even use it for things like time. What time is it, right? What kind of music do you like? What's your favorite this? What's your favorite that, right? All sorts of different things when we're talking about specific things, specific interests. Those are the reasons we use what, right? Any questions on what, guys?
No.
Okay, makes sense? That's good. And the next one we can look at very briefly is when we use where, right? Where is we're talking about a location, right? Very simply. So let me just quickly ask you guys, uh, Marcelo, where would you like to visit if you had $1 million?
$1 million. Um, I like to visit the United States.
Fantastic. Welcome, welcome. You don't need $1 million to come here, but you're welcome, right? So I would love to visit the United States, right? Fantastic. Murad, where would you like to visit if you had $1 million?
I will travel all over the world. I
All
will
over the
travel.
world.
Yeah.
Around
Not
the
just
world.
not just one location, right? Fantastic. $1 million, you can go anywhere, right? What about you, Sosa? Where would you go?
Depends on where you're gonna stay, where you're gonna eat, what you're gonna eat. Depends on a lot of
Million won't
things.
be enough.
Yeah, right. Maybe if you want to go to Las Vegas, Marcelo, let me suggest to you, you will maybe run out of your $1 million very quickly.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah,
I
right.
agree
So
with you.
some places you will want to be very careful. If you come to Wisconsin, you can live for the rest of your life on just half of that money, $500,000.
Yeah, I know.
It's a much cheaper state, right? So I'm sorry, but did you say something about what your favorite location would be, or where would you
Well, I don't know if $1 million will be enough, but I would love to go to the moon.
love to go to the moon?
Yes.
Like why?
Just
Just for fun?
yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to judge. That's good. Uh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you would like to go to the moon, right? So it wants to leave planet Earth and actually go somewhere else, right? So fantastic. This is how we use where questions, right? Talking specifically about locations, and then we have two other quick examples, right? Actually, we have three other examples. When we say when is about time, right? So let's say Murad, when are you going to bed tonight?
After 30 minutes.
After 30
At
minutes,
the end of this
fantastic.
class.
So at the end of this class, okay, I'm going to make sure it lasts exactly 30 minutes just for you, Murad, just for you. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Marcelo? When are you going to bed tonight?
I usually go to the bed 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
Right around 2 a.m. So right after this class as well.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I'm keeping you guys up now. You guys are making me feel very, very good about myself now. So what about you? When do you usually go to sleep?
These days, I sleep at 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning.
9 or 10 a.m.?
Yes.
And you stay up all night?
I woke up, let's say today, I woke up at 10 p.m.
You woke up at 10 p.m. at night?
Yes.
What do? Watch the moon? Like,
And the stars, of course.
oh
No,
wow.
because it's still a day. So my system is very corrupt these days. When I get back to work, I will fix my sleeping
Yeah,
time.
I think you have to fix your schedule because right now you are what we call nocturnal, right? You're
I'm
like
not
an
as
owl.
bad.
You're like an owl. You are awake at night and you sleep during the day, right? So yeah, your mental clock will definitely need to be readjusted, right? Um, fantastic, fantastic. But no, that happens. I have pulled nocturnal nights in my life as well, many, many times. For example, school papers and stuff like that. I had to write 65 pages in 2 weeks. I spent some nights not sleeping. you know so fantastic, guys. Then what about why questions are we ask those if we want to find the reasoning behind something, right? So I don't want to spend too much time on this. I think everyone understands it, right? Why do we whatever why do you like to play music, right? Why do you like to watch TV? I mean,
Why do you
any
like to study English?
yeah, actually, that's a great question, Marcelo. That's a great question. Why are you learning English, Marcelo?
Um, I like to study English because I think English is a wonderful, uh, how can I say, language, you know.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
I really I intended to go to United States next year, or uh, maybe next year. I don't know yet because I don't have money enough to go. Maybe I will not have money enough to go next year.
Uh-huh.
But uh, and I like it. I really want to improve my vocabulary and to my skills, my vocabulary skills. You know.
Hmm. I think you're well on your way. I think, Marcelo, you're doing
Yeah.
a great job. I think you're doing a great job. If you practice just a
It's
little bit
it's
more, you'll be good.
yeah, we have to struggle because I think it's very hard to learn a new language, you know.
It is, it is. It takes a lot of dedication, practice,
Yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
Murad, why are you learning English?
Well,
Or
there are
practicing, I should
different
say. I should say
reasons.
practicing English, yeah.
Yeah, there are different reasons, one of
Uh-huh.
which English is spoken everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So if I travel, for example, to some other countries whose language I do not speak, English will help me.
100%. It's the
So,
lingua franca.
yes. Moreover, English is the language of computing.
Hmm.
And as I love computing, English will be very helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely right. Great. Thanks for those ideas and thanks for sharing that, Murad. So, what about you? Last but not least, why are you learning English?
Because I need to improve my speaking skill.
Hmm. Fantastic, right? Fantastic. So we often see people ask why questions. We begin the answer with because, right? Or I'm learning English because, right? Because is the corollary to where or to why. I'm sorry. So great job with that, guys. That's a why question. And last but not least, when we talk about how, right? How is something that we use, a word that we can use when we want to find many different things, right? For example, we can ask about quantity, right? We can ask about quantity, we can ask about directions, and we can ask about feelings, right? Those are three big ones. I'm going to write these down. So how we can use for quantity, directions, and feelings, right? What's an example of using how to describe a quantity, Marcelo? Could you help me out?
How much is it?
Fantastic. How much is this, right? How much does this cost? How much is this, right? Fantastic. That's a
Yeah.
quantity. What about Murad with directions? How can you use how to ask for directions?
How can I get into this subway?
Fantastic, Marcelo. Murad, what's another way to ask that?
Yeah, for example, how far is it to get to somewhere?
Exactly, right? How far is it to get to Chicago, right? How far is it to get to
Yeah.
Sao Paulo, right? Fantastic. And so, how do we ask about feelings using how?
Could I
Yeah, go ahead, Marcelo.
can I ask how do you like it here?
How
It's
do you
good?
like it here? Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. That works.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you like it here? That's a good question for feelings also, right? What's another way we can ask about feelings? So.
You can say, how are you? Or how is your mother?
Exactly. How are you? How is your mother? How do you feel? Right? Yeah, any of those examples, right? We can use how to ask about someone's condition, someone's feelings, right? And we can also, yeah, I think that's it, guys. Honestly, I'm just going to be, I don't want to split hairs when we talk about some of these because I think you guys have a good understanding of these questions and how to make these questions. Do we have any more questions about this stuff so far? No questions?
Well, for a while now.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, as of right now, no. Okay, fantastic. Let's get started with the article then, guys. I'm going to paste the link here on the chat window. As you guys always know, that's what I do. And then we will go ahead and start the lesson. And it's very creative. It's a very interesting lesson. I think you guys will be surprised once you read the article. So there's the link. Please go ahead and open it up, and I will also be sharing the link or sharing my screen so we can take a look at the article, right? Okay, so bees foraging for flowers hampered by diesel exhaust. Okay, very interesting scenario. What does this mean? Bees foraging for flowers is hampered by diesel exhaust, right? So it's saying that when a bee, one of these guys, when a bee is searching for flowers, right? When a bee is looking for, flowers to pollinate, to go from flower
Teacher,
to flower. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can't I can't see it.
Oh, can you not see the link?
Ah, no, right. Thank you.
You see it now? Okay, fantastic. No
Yeah,
worries.
I see now.
Okay, so bees foraging for flowers, right? So when we see bees that are in flowers, their ability to go to flowers and pollinate flowers, right, is actually destroyed or, diminished by diesel exhaust, right? Exhaust from diesel engines. So let's look at this. Honeybees' ability to find flowers could be hampered by a chemical in diesel exhaust, say scientists. Tests showed that exhaust degraded some floral scent chemicals the bees home in on when they are foraging, right? So the study published in scientific reports also revealed that a specific group of chemicals found in diesel exhaust, known as NOx, diminished the insect's response to floral scents. They say the results are evidence that air quality should be improved, right? We got into this because we were aware of the impacts of airborne pollutants on human health, right? So it didn't seem so wild that there may be impacts that extended beyond human health, right? Said University of Southampton neuroscientist Dr. Tracy Newman, who was involved in the work. To drill down to the chemical effects of pollution on the pollinators. A pollinator is an insect that goes from flower to flower and spreads the pollen, right? This is how we have so many flowers in the world. Bees do a lot of this work, right? They go from one flower to another flower. They take the pollen from one flower to another flower, and that's how we get excuse me, that's how we get flowers, and that's how we get all the diversity that we see when it comes to, wildlife, right? So the researchers, what they did was they made a mixture of a very smelly chemical that we find in diesel fuel, and they mixed that to air, right? So they used a diesel power generator to create a mixture of air and exhaust that closely matched levels of exhaust found on a busy road, right? They took that they took that air and they presented this air to these honeybees, and after doing that, right, they realized that there was that the bees were unable to pollinate as well as they did before, right? their ability to select which flowers that they would pollinate to was actually diminished, right? This was something that they discovered. So what do they say? Bees need to decipher, they need to understand the chemical messages that they're getting from flowers to be able to home in on the flowers they know will give them the best yield, right? The pollinators, she said, learn to recognize the scents of nectar-rich flowers, and this enabled them to forage more efficiently. So the bees have this natural ability, right? They can go and they can say, they can already focus naturally. They can focus on good flowers. Once they had exposure to these um, to this diesel fuel, they were unable to do that, right? So let me see real quick if there's anything else that we have here that I wanted to mention. Okay, let's look here. Dr. Newman added that the study that they did highlighted the need to reduce pollution and improve air quality in order to protect pollinating insects as well as improve human health, right? The value to food production of so-called, click the link. The value to food production of so-called pollination services is estimated to be hundreds of millions of pounds per year in the UK alone, right? Without pollination, without bees doing this work, we don't get flowers, we don't get fruits, we don't get a lot of the different, things that we take for granted in the world of plants, right? So it has a significant impact on what is going on in the world today, right? Now I'm going to jump back here to the article, to our window. So Marcelo, you asked what is to drill down, right? To drill down means to focus specifically on something, right? So these bees have the ability to drill down. Focus, Focus is to, let's say, to identify specifically something, right? So you are thinking, for example, these bees, maybe they know that this red flower has the best nectar, right? Nectar is the stuff in flowers, like the honey. It's not honey, but like the sweet content of a flower, right? Okay, Murad, have a good one. Thank you so much. So Murad left, no problems. But so what we were saying in this, Marcelo, is that the bees know which flowers are good for them, right? They know the most delicious flower. They can specifically go to the most delicious flower. Once, however, they are exposed to this diesel fuel, they're unable to do that, right? They're not able to focus on the flowers. So that's really what some of this article is talking about. Yeah. What do you guys think about this? I mean, does it surprise you that other animals are also affected by bad pollution?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
You're surprised by this? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. It's the first time I heard about it.
Yeah, it was the first time for me too when I read this, right? But it's crazy because, I mean, so what do you think about this? I'm gonna hold my thoughts for a second.
No, I'm not surprised, because the pollution will affect any creation. I mean, look at the fish in the sea.
That's right. What happens to the fish when there's high pollution?
They're dying.
They're dying,
Water
right?
pollution. Water
Yes.
pollution. But when that is air pollution, it doesn't affect the fish. I think. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So what do you think?
It doesn't affect the fish, but it affects other kind of creature, like the bees, for example.
All right.
Right? So yeah, it's interesting because I think these investigations are actually opening up the window to learn about some of these types of pollution, right? I had no idea, right? We can see water pollution because, the water is dirty, the water is whatever, right? But we can't necessarily see air pollution, right? Air pollution might be something that we maybe breathe, but we don't really see, right? So I think that's where some of the challenges are, right? And How do you guys think? So we learn about these bees, and these bees are unable to pollinate as effectively as they would otherwise pollinate, right? They can't go from one flower to another flower. How does this affect the greater ecosystem, the greater environment? Is it a negative effect or is it a positive effect? What do you think, Marcelo?
In my point of view, it's a negative effect.
And why is that?
I don't know why, but I think it's a negative effect because I'm not really into it, you know, into minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. This is a long conversation, right? This is something that scientists have been trying to investigate for a long time, but it's something that, maybe if we look at the fact that without flowers you can't get fruits, right? And without fruits you're not going to have, vegetables and produce and food, right? I mean, so I think a few years ago, maybe you heard about this, but they were saying that there were actually there was a shortage of bees in the world, right? There was some kind of a fungus or some bacteria was killing a lot of bees, right? And farmers were very worried that this would affect their crops.
Yeah, I got you.
Remember? So
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so the bees are really affecting, I guess, the production of fruits and vegetables also, right? And yeah,
They are getter. They
uh-huh.
are they are spreading it over around the, how can I say it in English? They are scattering. How can I say
Scattering.
Scattering the pollution around the plants, you know, the flowers. That's it.
Yeah, right. So, or they're unable to take the pollen. I don't know how to say pollen in Portuguese. Marcelo.
Pollution.
No,
Pollen.
pollen. Yeah. It's something in the flower, right? What the bees do is the bees enter the flower and they take the pollen from one flower to another flower.
Do you know something in Portuguese? Do you speak Portuguese too?
No, very little. I don't know anything. I watched a movie, Tropa de Elite.
No, nice move.
Missão dada é missão cumprida.
Yeah. Congratulations.
That's all I know. And I know like muito obrigado. That's it.
Muito obrigado.
Yeah.
De nada. You answer, de nada.
De nada?
Yeah, it's de nada is like you are welcome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, in Spanish we say de nada. Yeah, de nada.
Yeah, de nada. Sí.
Yeah. Sí, muy bien. Or muito bem. Muito bom, muito bem.
So you speak Spanish too?
I speak Spanish. Yeah, I don't speak Portuguese, unfortunately. Very little. I mean, just I can understand a couple of words. But so yeah, the pollen, the inability of the pollen to go from one flower to another is really affecting a lot of farmers and stuff also, right? In terms of the overall chain, right? Flower to fruit to vegetable, all of that is affected by the bees not being able to do this, right? But do you think in Brazil, right? What are the implications of pollution? Let's not talk about the bees anymore, right? I think we can talk about pollution in general, right? How is pollution affecting the people of Sao Paulo or Rio? Is it something that's causing health problems, or is it just something that is like, what's going on? Yeah.
I think it's health problems with pollution, and I think that the most problems, the worst problem is the health problems that happens in São Paulo.
What are the kinds of health problems, like lung problems, breathing problems?
Breathing problems. Yeah.
For example, lung cancer, maybe.
Lung cancer. Yeah, lung cancer.
Because I know lung cancer
Brain
you
failure,
get.
lung cancer, yeah.
Uh-huh. Because I know lung cancer you get from smoking, right? But also from from the air pollution also.
Smoking could be lung cancer with the air pollution. It can happen, I
It can
think.
happen as well. Okay. Yeah. Have you heard of bronchitis? This is a disease as well.
Bronchitis. I don't know the word in English, but bronchitis. I didn't know
Uh-huh.
these words in English.
Yeah. What's the Portuguese of this one? Do you know?
Bronchite.
Uh-huh. Yeah. This is, I think, also possible with with a lot of air pollution, right?
Yeah.
Bronchite, right? And what about asthma?
Asthma. It's like Portuguese. Asthma, bronchitis is similar.
Mm-hmm. That's right, right? Asthma is also a big problem because I think, especially for people who have asthma, these problems are even worse, right? Because they have the asthma, and then on top of the asthma, they have maybe bronchitis, right?
Yeah.
It's a serious problem. Do you think it affects a lot of people in Sao
The
Paulo?
the temperature here in Brasilia
Uh-huh.
is drier than São Paulo, you know. Even so,
Uh-huh.
I prefer drier season than fly season, no?
Yeah.
Than
Dry and wet, right? Dry and wet. So
dry and wet.
yeah, Sao Paulo has wet seasons, then, right?
Yeah, wet seasons. Yeah.
So it's very rainy there.
Yeah. In Brazil, it's dry season.
Dry season. Okay, very interesting. Um, do you think these problems affect a lot of Brazilians, Marcelo, or do you think it's in the minority?
Oh, dry season?
No, no,
Wet
no,
season?
no, no, no. These like lung cancer, bronchitis, asthma. People in Sao Paulo. Do a lot of people in Sao Paulo have these diseases, or just a few people?
No, a lot of people. A lot of
Really?
people. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I believe
What
that there are a lot of people that have these problems.
what are they doing? Like, I mean, is the city doing anything to stop these problems?
No,
Pollution.
the government doesn't do anything to solve this problem, you know.
What
And
about
we
Dilma?
don't have a good health here, no hospitals
Uh-huh.
and so on.
Uh-huh. What
Because
about
if you want to have a good healthy, you know,
if you want to have good
treatment,
healthcare?
healthcare. Yeah, if you want to have a good healthcare, you have to pay for it, you know.
Uh-huh. And it's very expensive, I'm assuming, right?
It's very expensive.
Very expensive.
It's very expensive.
What is Dilma Yousef doing?
Sorry?
What is uh what is President Dilma doing? President Yousef?
Anything. Anything.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing. She's not doing anything. But she's the favorite president after Lula, filho de Brasil.
I think the best president here was Lula, you know, because the country started to increase, talking about the economic situations and the security system and a lot of things. And after the President Dilma um, assumed, you know.
But I thought Lula really liked Dilma.
Yeah, but I think Dilma is being very different from Lula. You know,
Oh
Lula,
wow.
I liked more Lula than Dilma.
Yeah. Okay. I heard Lula was very popular.
Yeah. Brazil started to increase when Lula was in
Was in
charge of Brazil, you know.
was in charge of Brazil. Yeah, was in power.
Yeah.
Hmm. Very interesting.
And after the Dilma assumed, how can I say assumed? I don't know.
Assumed after she
Assumed.
became president. She became president. Huh?
Yeah, after Dilma became president, I think the Brazil started to decrease, you know.
Hmm. That's interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Honestly, I thought that maybe, she's doing a good job, but I wasn't sure that if things were getting worse for Brazilians. And yeah, Marcelo, that's really the end of class. I just wanted to have a
Okay.
conversation about some of these things. Did you have any questions about about the article that we looked at with the bees, or the questions, the who, what, when, why questions, how,
No,
where, those kinds of questions?
no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Marcelo. Well, thank you for joining class. I really appreciated it.
Thank you
And
very much, and a good night for you.
yeah, have a good night as well. Thank you so
I
much.
I saw that you're asleep.
A little bit, yeah. It's getting late, so all right. Have a good one,
Okay,
Marcelo. Take care.
thank you very much, and good
You too.
night. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
yep, de nada. Bye bye. Hey, Murad, how's it going, my friend?
Hello. I am fine, thank you. Thank you very much. How are you?
Good, things are great. I'm just hanging out in Washington, D.C., and the government shutdown is over.
I'm glad to hear that.
I know. Praise Obama. Obama is the best. Actually, no. He's probably as
Mm,
guilty as everybody else. But finally, the shutdown is over. So I'll be spending most of my day tomorrow just traveling around Washington, D.C. because
yeah.
now the museums are open.
So everything is okay right now.
For another 2 months, yes.
Good.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen in 2 months, right? We have a bunch of clowns called, clown politicians ruling this country. So um, whenever they want, they change the rules, they bend the rules, they break the rules, they write new rules, right? Egypt is the mother of the world, الأم الدنيا.
انت بتحب مصر يا فرحان؟
I don't know what that means.
ايش
I
قصدك؟
but I just speak Egyptian English يعني. And
شو تفهمني العربية ديال المغرب؟
I don't know what that means, man.
That's Moroccan.
Yeah, it's Moroccan. I don't speak Arabic, guys. I speak just Egyptian English. But yeah, no, I did promise you guys I would share some of that with you. So there you go. I can do more if you guys want, but later. Uh, how's it going, Marcelo? Yeah, Marcelo, are you there?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Fine.
Where are you from?
Nice. It's nice from Brazil.
You're from Brazil?
Yeah, Brazil.
Nice, nice, awesome. What part of Brazil? Brazil is a beautiful country.
Capital for Brazil, Brasilia.
Brasilia. Oh, very nice. So the
Yeah.
capital, the federal territory, right?
Yeah.
Nice, nice. I was watching a documentary on Brazil a few weeks ago, and I had no idea that Brasilia is located in a very uh, underdeveloped part of Brazil. That when they developed the city, they kind of went into the area of Brazil that nobody lived in, and they decided to build the capital city there. It was very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very interesting stuff. Have you met the other classmates before, Marcelo, Murad, and
Ye-
Soso?
Yeah, I started to learn English with you here in Colingo
Uh-huh.
yesterday.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome to Colingo
Yeah,
then. Welcome
yeah.
to,
Yesterday was my first day here.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
Fantastic. We have a good amount of a lot of students from Brazil actually, so I think it actually helps to include you guys in a lot of conversations. Some of my articles have actually also focused on Brazil because
Yeah, I
personally,
know. I
yeah,
noticed. I noticed. I realized that I saw a lot of Brazilian people here. I think it's very nice to see
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I like that. I like that a lot as well. So I'm going to wait maybe just a couple more minutes, guys. Actually, I don't know. It's about 11 minutes past the hour. I'll get started. Today we are going to be discussing the environment to a certain extent. We'll be talking about pollution, and I think pollution is something that we all have somewhat of an idea of. Either it affects us on a daily basis when we are traveling or when we are going to work or coming back from work or whatever. It affects us in our countries, in our daily lives, or it's something that we have heard about affecting other countries or affecting the world as a whole in the sense of maybe global warming or in the sense of the environment and things like that, right? So
Right.
the question I have for you guys to begin our discussion is, when was the last time you smelled polluted air, right? When was the last time you went outside and you smelled something that just seemed to you to be not fresh air, polluted air, maybe smoke, or we say smog in English, right? When was the last time that happened to you? We can start with Marcelo.
Okay. Pollution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, in Brasilia, we haven't a lot of pollution air, but in São Paulo, it's because I was born in São Paulo and I came to Brasilia 4 years ago.
Hmm.
And when I was living in São Paulo, I felt that I felt that it's a lot of pollution air. In It's not good, because it's harmful for our health in certain ways.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. I think that those are great points to make, right? And do you think the sound, the pa sound, a couple of extra letters, but yeah, I never heard of this before. I'm reading it right now. Tagine. Tagine, Vanity Tagine. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay, cool. Did not know that. There's so much influence from different cultures. I had a good friends of mine from Morocco who I spent a summer with when I was overseas, and great, great cuisine. But I never really had, I never really learned to love or grew to love couscous. Couscous for me is just one of those things that if I see, for example, rice or bread along with couscous, I would go for the rice or bread. I wouldn't go for the couscous. You know, I think it's a different taste almost that I'm not used to so much. But I can imagine it's very popular in Morocco.
It's very popular and it's the custom to make it every Friday.
Every Yom al Jumu'ah,
Yes.
right? Or as I like to say in Egyptian colloquial English, al Yom al Jumu'ah.
يوم الجمعة.
Jumu'ah, exactly, exactly. يعني والله yesterday I went to al masjid. يعني everybody in the masjid told me that they have to eat the couscous يعني.
يعني
Right?
ايه؟ يعني
Yeah.
ايه؟
يعني the بكرة I eat the couscous because it's اليوم الجمعة. I
انت
need to eat the
بتتكلم
couscous.
مصري.
Say what? I'm sorry, Murad. I'm having fun with this now. What did you say, Murad? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
انت بتتكلم مصري.
والله يعني المصري أم الدنيا. The Egypt is the mother of the world يعني. They don't know about the Egypt. The people they come to see the pyramid يعني من القاهرة من يعني every part يعني في كل مكان.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever the same. So, how about you? Did you do anything cool today?
I just went to have lunch outside.
Nice, nice. What kind of food do you like, Murad? Do you prefer Mexican food? Do you prefer cooking at home? Like different kinds of cuisine?
Frankly, I accept everything which is healthy
Nice, nice. That's awesome.
and halal. You know what halal means?
Of course, halal food. And then,
Yes.
so for example, uh, what is your favorite, I guess, dish?
My favorite dish. Well, there are different dishes like couscous,
Couscous,
like
uh-huh.
tagine, like pastilla.
Pastilla, okay.
Yes,
I haven't heard of the second one you mentioned, Murad. What was that one called? And
pastilla,
no, the one before that, after couscous, but before pastillas.
tagine.
Tagine.
It's a dish made of
Uh-huh.
Aja?
different vegetables.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's Moroccan. It seems Moroccan, right? Let me look at this up.
yes, that's it.
Tagine. It comes from the Persian tabib. I speak Persian. I've never heard of this. Tabib. Interesting. Okay, tabib.
I think Persian
Fudge.
has Arabic characters.
Yes. Persian is written in the Arabic letters, alif, ba, all that stuff. So
From right to
uh,
left.
from right to left, exactly. It looks the same as Arabic, except we have a few more letters. We have P, and we have cha. The cha